Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast. We spend the first, 5-10 minutes. I don't know what we're going to talk about today. Kind of just rambling, for lack of a better word. If you're here to listen to the show proper, or it's like your second time listening, just skip ahead. Therell be a kind of a little commercial, some type of sound clip, which starts kind of the actual discussion that the show goes into. The first little bit, though, just kind of general ramblings. Yeah. So Tyson, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I can't complain. Yeah, life's good. It's yeah, lots of ups, some downs, but all in all, it's not bad. It's not a bad ride.
Yeah, it's been warmer than it has been last little bit, so
Yep.
it's nice to actually be able to go outside without freezing your face off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the weather is definitely a big perk, right? And yeah, life's kind of doesn't make living terrible. So
Oh, so I do have some cool news.
all right,
I broke down and I bought Mario Odyssey.
very nice.
Yep. That was a lot of fun. I've been playing a fair chunk of that. I haven't beat it yet, but I'm well on my way.
Excellent. I kind of want to pick it up and just see how. Like, I'm pretty sure I could beat it in like 3 hours
Yeah,
if you just kind of like pick up like the necessary stars here and there. So
true.
yeah.
And they give you a ton. I always end up just like dicking around after I've completed it and just trying to get all the extra like stragglers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely the more fun is to explore more in depth in the world and not just do the bare minimum job. But very nice. Look at that. Tyson's coming along. How is the Mushroom Battle Kingdom or the Mushroom Kingdom Battle?
Honestly, ever since I got Odyssey, I haven't played it.
Well, you're playing it. How was it?
It was okay. It's a little boring to start because it's just like a bunch of levels just figuring out the combat. But I've already played like a game like XCOM, so nothing too new there. Me and Hope did end up actually playing like a couple death matches, which was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yep.
That's all right.
Yes.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah. What else have I think I got the Batman Arkham games, like the HD ones that they released on the PS4 a couple weeks ago. So I just played through that. Just played through Arkham City, or no, Arkham Asylum. That game, I mean, it's cool. Like, you have to appreciate it for what it is for the time, but it's definitely hasn't aged well. Like, the final battle with Joker and a lot of the combat, it's just super, I don't know, what's that, like fast twitchy almost? And there's not a lot of story and there's not so much to explore. But I remember like playing it back in the day and 100%ing it, so I didn't have that same kind of drive to try and 100% it again, right? So
Yeah.
other than that, just kind of recently picked up Earthbound again, so that's promising. Chances are by the time it comes to record one of our next podcasts, I'll have Earthbound ready, so it's good.
That is good. I picked it up only and played a little bit. I didn't realize how close we were to actually getting the fourth character in our party. Like, crazy close. So.
Oh, it was 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah,
and only 5 minutes because I fell for the trick that they throw at you.
Yeah. It's like, oh, God.
Yeah. Yep. So one of the things I noticed the other day was I woke up, it was like Wednesday or something like that, and I almost played life like it felt like a video game. So I went to the gym. There was like my grinding. I felt stronger. Then I had breakfast, so I like bumped up my stats again. Then had to go to the bank and pick up like a legal draft to go take over to this mortgage place or to a realtor. And then I had a cake to drop off, and I had my phone going the whole time, and it was like, in 400 meters, turn right. And I was like, this is just like playing Grand Theft Auto when you're using the GPS to drive around the city. So I played real life Grand Theft Auto the other day.
Except for you obeyed by the traffic laws. So good on you. That's hard as shit to do.
Oh, I always play by the traffic laws in Grand Theft Auto. It makes the game way more interesting when you sit at a set of lights and only go when the light is green. So
Yeah, that is a good way of doing it. Get that. I've always wanted to try GTA with virtual reality. I thought that would just be the best.
yeah, that would be kind of fun. Huh.
Right?
Yeah. Huh. I've also heard GTA like 5 online is one of the best times you can have because everyone is just like more ridiculous in the game. Imagine if everyone in the game was as ridiculous as how you play it. So like randomly, my boss was telling me that he was playing against this kid, and you can target lock them. So he ended up like trying to like punch this kid to death, and this kid pulled his bazooka and like shot him. So then he spawned back and like found the kid and like ran up to him and started like punching him again. And after about an hour and a half of tracking this kid down, like the kid just freaked out and took off. And all of a sudden he shows back up with this car and he's like, hey man, like get in. So he got into this kid's car with him, and apparently he had bought a rocket car and started flying around through the sky with him. And he's like, oh, this is great. And he's like, I'm 12. And my boss is like, I'm 45.
And we're flying around in a giant rocket car.
Yeah, and I was like, that does sound like a lot of fun. Almost makes me want to pick up the game again. I have not, but almost makes me want to think about it. So yeah. So that was like my real life video game that I went on. So I wasn't playing video games. I lived them. You know.
Well, that's fair. I haven't had any outer body experiences sort of recently, unfortunately.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know where to go from there.
Yeah, all right. Well, that might be a fast one. I mean, I also feel like this episode, maybe even our next episode and the episode after that, might be a little bit shorter. You know what? I'm okay with that. It's all good. So, there. I guess we'll just move on. Anything else we need to talk about? Fucking passwords for shit on the internet suck. It took me 12 minutes to get into Skype today. So Skype, figure your shit out. I realize it's a free service I don't pay anything for, so I shouldn't expect top-notch service. But if I want to use Star Wars written backwards for all my passwords ever in the internet, like, why can't I just do that? Why do I have to put a 1 in it?
I have no idea. Possibly for good security purposes, because telling the internet your password on a podcast may not be the most responsible thing you've done.
What? The 10 people that listen are going to know how to log into Skype on me? Ooh.
Well, if they're listening, they know it wouldn't work because you weren't allowed to do that.
Fair enough. I mean, that's also maybe not my password, but maybe it is. I don't know. You try it out, internet.
Keep trying it. Make all of Mick's emails have to be reset because
just lock them all out, and I'm
all
like, fuck.
locked out.
And it all like funnels back to that one email I don't have access to. So you've just destroyed me from the internet.
Yeah, basically. That'd just be the worst.
Well, fuck. Just start new. Start new. I'm sure there's nothing important on any of them. So
change your name, start fresh.
Yeah, just change my internet identity. It's fine. It's fine. Nice. All right. Well, let's get on to today's game.
Prepare to meet the light!
Endless action. One legendary hero. Get ready for the odyssey of Kid Icarus, only on Nintendo. Rated everyone 10 and up.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We can be contacted on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, check us out on, which ones did I do? Twitter, Facebook. Check us out at facebook.com/Podtendo, and youtube.com at youtube.com/Podtendo. I'm your co-host, in the process of moving, Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my co-host,
Dehydrated Tyson.
There you go. How was that? I just started, I was watching TV in the background and I just started like saying it, and then I was like, I don't know where I am.
Yeah, that happens. But
okay.
I think you recovered quite well. I think you just kind of second-guessed yourself.
I think we got it, because I think I went to Twitter, and then I was like, what comes after Twitter? And I think it's Facebook. I don't think we have anything else, right? We're not on Instagram yet?
No.
All right, well, that's good to know. It's good to know. Sweet. So, I don't know. I'm feeling like somewhat excited by these kind of wrap-ups leading up to show 50. Some of our listeners, if you guys are paying attention, or if you're listening to this in the future, it's superfluous. But we are kind of building towards a redoing of the show, so kind of like becoming a monthly instead of a bi-weekly, which is fine. But occasionally we get caught at that point where we are today, where we're trying to like backlog a bunch of episodes, and we're like in a rush to beat them, which is what it is, But
it's fine. But
yeah.
some days we won't have an open schedule like we do right now. So
Yeah, and you know what? One of the credits to Tyson is like, I'll be like, oh, I just beat these 3 games. You should beat them. And like the next day, he's like, yeah, I beat them. And I was like, but how? It took me like 10 hours. He's like, I got it. Don't worry. So I mean, he's got that work ethic. When you give him the push and the gears, and you give him a timeline, no problem. So it's good, and it'll free us up a little bit just to talk about other things too. So it's kind of nice.
and
Yeah.
cheats and save states.
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be sad when we're off the NES, because NES I have that really easy access to cheats for everything, and I'm like, I'm gonna really struggle to get Super Nintendo cheats for stuff. So
Yeah,
I think we're-
especially when some games even have them built in with just like password systems. You're like, thank the Lord for all these passwords.
Yeah, I know. But, so with being that, we're switching up the format ever so slightly. As just trying to figure out what's the ideal way. So I'm going back, and I think I've re-listened to a couple episodes I talked about. I started listening to our South Park episode, and I basically listened our first South Park all the way through the library. For the most part, like I said, that 75% rule, I think sometimes our shows are really good and entertaining. Occasionally they fall off the rail a little bit, but it's all good. I think we're better now at communicating and actually having a conversation and listening to one another, versus occasionally we just talk for no reason. Like your Sam Smith joke that you try to make in the Star Fox episode, I think it is. And you're like, Sam Smith made the worst James Bond soundtrack, and I don't really bite on it, and I'm like, is that a thing? Do people care about this? So I just moved on, and then like 2 seconds later, like, but Mick, you didn't hear me, and I was like, oh no, I heard you, I just didn't have a response.
No, you must appreciate how much I hate that song.
Yeah, and then one of the other ones, the one where we were doing like the PlayStation VR commercial at the start of the one show. The fuck show was that? Anyways, I was listening to it, and at one point, I'm like, what's visual media? And you're like, well, visual media is getting pretty good, and like with new LED projections, we're getting this, and for the most part, like movies like look pretty good, and the stories are okay in a couple. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking about like stories being told by the movies, not the technique. And you like hear me getting frustrated, and I'm like, I feel like you had a very fair answer, to be honest with you. In fact, at one point you're like, I've never seen a virtual like reality like VR movie, but I think that'd be cool. And then like a couple weeks later, I'm like, man, how cool would this be? Like I was talking about, like, I was like, such an asshole. So
It happens. It happens.
It
I
happens.
think we're getting like when we said that 75% joke, it was just a joke. But now that I'm re-listening to old episodes, you're like, yeah, well, 75% of the time we're on topic and have a point. Other 25, well, I don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it.
Even this one, we had a 6-minute intro, which then turned into a 9-minute intro because I told the internet my fucking passwords for everything. Then we started the show, and now it's been probably like 5 minutes of us just talking about what show we're on in other shows. So like we started the show proper, but we were still just fucking bullshitting. Like people skipped ahead being like, I hate when they just don't talk on topic. And now we're not on topic anymore.
Warming up, people.
We're warming up.
We're terrible at this.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I feel like it's like What I was thinking, like, the more we do it, the more frequent we are. I definitely feel like we get into the groove. We're like, yeah, let's do this. And now, in fact, we're only doing it like once a month. We'll be recording once a month. We'll never be in the zone. We're always just going to be, hey, there's a This Is Us commercial. That's fun.
Sporadic, because you're usually watching TV, and I'm usually like reading articles as we're doing this or playing games. It's like it's hard to keep focused when you're multitasking. We're just bad at it.
Yeah, well, there was some like football games on I wanted to watch today, so I was like, I'll throw that on and sit downstairs instead of sitting up in like one of the bedrooms or tucked away somewhere. So the recording might be a bit more echoey, but let's actually maybe move on to today's topic. How about them apples,
How about them apples?
So new format. We'll see how it is. If you like it, but if you don't get to the format of the show, I don't blame you.
Just listen to 2 episodes and I promise you'll get the format.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. All right, so today's game is Kid Icarus. The release date was July 1st, 1987. Ooh, Mick's almost born into the world at this point. It's exciting. How Long to Beat has this game at 3.5 hours. The price at release was $50. If we factor in inflation, that's $94.46 today. eBay price, you can get a copy of this game for about $30, anywhere up to $250 for a complete inboxed copy. So, if only my parents would have known. I could have had $250 if they would have just thought ahead. Those ignorant fucks. I also like when I say jokes, just you laugh sometimes in the pods. You're like, that's a form of reaction to him.
Well, sometimes I have to laugh and I just don't know what to say. So
yeah, you're like, what's wrong with you? And then finally, the eShop price, $4.99 on the 3DS, Wii or Wii U, or you can get something called a 3D classic version of this game for $6.99. So what they've done is they've added some background sprites, so you're not just always on a black screen. They've made it 3D, so you can turn it on and it looks kind of neat. I didn't play that one, but I was like, that's a thing, I guess.
For an extra couple bucks, I guess it might be worth it if you really dig this game. I think it's good, but
$6.99 good. I don't know.
Plus tax.
Plus tax. Jesus, man, no wonder Nintendo's doing so well. Gouging us out the wazoo, you know. Our wazoos are gouged.
Fistfuls of cash.
Fistfuls of cash. So normally in the format we kind of go through the development details. Now what we're going to do to get us really into the mindset of July 1st, 1987 is we're going to talk about Tyson's theoretical birthday that happened this year and all the fun stuff he could do on his birthday. Because that's how this works. I don't know. It's actually a time machine that we go back in time and we decide if we want to live there. That's what we're doing. It's not Tyson's birthday. It's, do we want to live there? That's what it should be called.
Definitely.
I mean, I feel like Wayback Machine is already kind of branded into Podtendo, though, so we're stuck. Shit.
Yeah, well, it's trademarked, so.
Yeah. So what we do is we discuss things that happened July 1st, 1987. Our favorite shows. Could it be Matlock? Specifically the episode The Doctors. An evil head physician, Dr. David Westlake, caused a lot of trouble towards his medical students. One of the students planned to kill him when Dr. Westlake's body is found by Bruce Jacobs, who fled at the scene of the crime. All questions fall on him. Matlock, who has a pain in his hip, because he's old, decides to take the case on a busy yet explanatory, handsome physician. Sure, why not? Thanks a lot, Wikipedia, you assholes, for not editing.
Yeah, that felt like one long sentence.
Yeah. So basically, the doctor is kind of mean towards his medical students.
Yep. One
of the medical students plans to kill him.
Yep.
And then one of the other doctors finds his body, and Matlock has to figure out what happened. Basically. A real whodunit, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, the late 80s were filled with these kind of shows. This and Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, so that's an option. So you could be watching that. Or we could watch Transformers, specifically the episode The Return of Optimus Prime Part 2. Oh dear, I just copied this off Wikipedia. I'm scared, but let's give it a try. After the movie, Skylinks and the Quintesson succeed in restoring Optimus Prime to life, hoping he can find a cure for the hated plague. Back from the dead once again, Optimus Prime and his team of uninfected Autobots set out to retrieve an experimental metal that shields the users from heat and radiation. Once Optimus Prime is coated in that metal, it will protect from the infection and enable him to reclaim the matrix of leadership from Rodimus Prime, who is now a victim of the hate plague as well. But can Optimus succeed in finding the cure for the hate plague? I'll be honest with you. Those two plots sound very similar. Do you think Matlock stole from the Transformers, or do you think Transformers stole from Matlock?
I think that they just are both very mediocre, and this time in TV just isn't that great.
I agree, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. it's been one of those things where I've always kind of wanted to like go and watch all the Transformers. I have all the Ghostbusters I got for Christmas, the real Ghostbusters. So I'm kind of excited to go through and watch a bunch of those. They're not bad, you know? Like, they're a lot better than you'd think, so.
Yeah, some TV shows hold up better than others, and I think Transformers was just basically there to sell goddamn action figures.
I think there are some that are probably okay, but I'd be curious to see like what is the best Transformers cartoon, right? Because obviously there's Beast Wars, there's Transformers Prime, there's a series of them, right? So it'd be kind of interesting to see like what do fans think are the best. Because as X-Men fans, I have an opinion on Wolverine and the X-Men. There's X-Men Evolution and then the X-Men animated series, and I could like tell you which I think is the best. So I might find like a Transformers fan and find out what's up.
Definitely.
Nice. So you have a choice?
Want to say Transformers, but Matlock has his hip pain, and as an old man now, I
All
can
right.
relate to that. So I'm gonna choose Matlock.
Nice. Yay, I'm excited to play the Matlock song and be
Me
like,
too.
oh, I remember that. I remember that for sure. Other top TV shows that were on July 1st, 1987 were Elf, Miami Vice, Sledgehammer, LA Law, The A-Team, Head of the Class, Cheers, and The Cosby Show. So it's pretty exciting. I also feel like we've been in this year before because there's my Sledgehammer that popped up again, and A-Team. So kind of fun.
Excellent.
Top cartoons: The Adventures of the Gummy Bears, DuckTales, My Pet Monster, Fireman Sam, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and The Adventures of Teddy Ruxpin all came out this year.
Damn, got some quality programming.
Then top movies that came out right around this time. We've got Benji the Hunted, Harry and the Hendersons, Predator, The Brave Little Toaster, Spaceballs, Dragnet, and Full Metal Jacket. So those are actually some pretty quality like blockbusters, I suppose, right?
Yeah, those are all pretty good movies. I've never seen Benji the Hunted, but sure, those are all good movies.
I don't know. Have you seen like any Benji movies ever in your life?
Oh, Benji the dog. Oh, okay. Yes, I've
What'd
seen
you
one
think
or
it
two.
was?
I had
Like,
no idea. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, Benji the dog. Like, if you've seen one Benji, you've actually seen every Benji. So, and if we waited 2 days, we could see Adventures in Babysitting or Inner Space. So, to be honest with you, golden age of cinema?
Bah.
No. All right. I mean, Harry and the Hendersons, I'll be honest with you, it's fun about a Sasquatch, but it fucking sucks ass. Let's move on to video games. Video games that came out this year were Punch-Out!, Contra, Zelda 2, Rad Racer, Metal Gear, Castlevania 2, Final Fantasy, Mega Man, Maniac Mansion, Double Dragon, Jaws, Dragon Quest 2, The Goonies 2, Blades of Steel, Shadowgate, and Tecmo Bowl. So I feel like we've been in this year a lot. We haven't always talked about it, but we've been in this year a lot for sure.
Yes. There's a lot of good games that came out this year. A lot of controversial games, but yeah, this is a pretty solid year, and I'm surprised we've never done a game on Blades of Steel. I feel so foolish.
Oh yeah, that's one of the games we have to do. I forgot about that. I feel like that's like a drunken thing we should do, though. You know?
Basically. Maybe for the Super Bowl.
Maybe for the Super Bowl. Cool. And then, favoritely, do we want to go back in time and live in this year? I mean, movies are okay, cartoons not bad, TV. I mean, you get Matlock, so that's pretty exciting. But the top 3 songs of around July 1st, 1987 are, or were, Always by Atlantic Starr. Like it's awful. Head to Toe by Lisa Lisa and Cult. That's made up. I don't think that that's a real, like, Lisa Lisa and the Cult Jam is a fake band that somebody made up on a sketch comedy show.
Yeah, that's the sort of like thing you make up on a playground when you're trying to like explain to your friends how cool your parents are. That they're in some sort of band. So.
Yeah, that's definitely not real. And finally, number 1, I Just Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me by Whitney Houston. So there we go. Like it kind of redeemed itself. I mean, Lisa and the Cult Jam were there, but I think the other song is like definitely fine. You know?
Yeah. Well, off the top of my head, 1 for 3 is not bad. So.
Yeah, not bad at all. But do we want to live there? I don't know. If I have to live in a world where Lisa and the Cult Jam make money, I don't know if I want to live there. So.
Yeah, it's definitely not a place for me.
So we didn't find a time to live in, but did it spark any memories of this game? On to first memories. I don't know if I've actually ever played this game before, so how's that for a first memory? It's pretty exciting.
I am there with you.
Yeah, I first saw Pit in Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii. I feel like Super Smash Bros., almost one of its jobs was just introducing Nintendo characters to the general public, so... thank you, Super Smash Brothers. But from the surface, this game sounds awesome. It's a mix between Mega Man, Zelda 2, and the best part of Super Mario Land. So, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, I would like to play it, at least give it a try. So it doesn't scare me away.
On paper, it sounds good.
It sounds phenomenal. Now we'll move on to the development details of this game. Oh, it looks like I wrote a lot, and I don't know if I get any of this down, so... This game was designed at Nintendo's Research and Development 1 division. While the programming was handled by an external company, Intelligent Systems, this game was developed by the Famicom Disk System because the peripheral disk card allowed players for 3 times the storage capacity of just the regular Famicom. Did you know about that? The disk system versus add-on for the Famicom in Japan?
I did not.
So they basically had an NES, and then they put a disk drive system, which extended the games and made them bigger. And they were actually just like floppy disks. So you can actually go and if you somehow found a Famicom, you could find the Famicom disk system. And there are some games. Metroid wasn't. So basically the games that use password systems in North America, so this game obviously has a password, they would have kind of save features. So it's kind of neat that like Japan was kind of ahead of us in that sense. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is kind of where the last remnants of, because the last thing I can remember that had this was the N64 and the expansion card. And wasn't that just like more RAM basically?
Yeah, so it could process or render certain things a little clearer or something like that. It had the ability to render certain aspects of games. So
yeah,
I think that was because chip technology, we talked about that before, how it like increases, they shrink in size and double in power every couple of years. I think that happened with the N64, and then the hardware of just like wasn't able to keep up with the game. So
gotcha.
Yeah. We can just skip the rest. In Japan, it is called The Myth of Light, the Mirror of Pelotuna, not Kid Icarus. Let's see. Yoshio Sakamoto joined the team as soon as he had returned from his vacation after completion of Metroid. He streamlined the development process and made many decisions that affected the game design of Myth of Light, the Mirror of Peloteno. God damn, it's going to be hard to say that. We have to say that name a lot, so that's really difficult. Several out-of-place elements that were included in the game, such as the credit card and the wizards that turn you into an eggplant, were contributed to Sakamoto due to his unrestrained humor, as opposed to making the game kind of very serious. The game's projected release date was December 19th, 1966. The staff members worked overtime and often stayed late at night. They used torn-up cardboard boxes as beds and covered themselves in curtains to resist the low temperatures of the unheated development building. So, I don't know. Like, why would you just
these poor people just go home.
Yeah, like go home and sleep for... I feel like an hour of shitty sleep in a good bed is better than 2 hours of shitty sleep in a bad bed, you know?
Agreed.
Like, that's always my rule. Because Tamara's faced that a couple times where she'll be at the kitchen till 3 in the morning. And she's like, I gotta get up an hour and go to work. So she'll sleep in her car. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. Or she'll, like, come home for 45 minutes and sleep and then go back. And it's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Kind of crazy that, like, let's just cover ourselves with these, like, cardboard boxes like homeless people live inside this building. It's like,
or even just, like, turn on the heat, you know? Like,
bring some space heaters.
Yeah, buy a blanket. It's, I don't know.
Sleeping bags.
Oh, Japan. There's so much the Boy Scouts of America could teach you.
Yeah.
So much. Eventually, Myth of Light, the mirror of Palutena, was finished and entered production a mere 3 days before the release date. So that was pretty fast. Several ideas for additional stages had to be dropped because of scheduling conflicts. Makes sense. In February and July 1987, respectively, a cartridge-based version was published for the NES in Europe and North America under the name Kid Icarus. In August 2004, Myth of Light, the mirror of Palutena, was re-released as part of the Famicom Mini Disc System selection for the Game Boy Advanced. Oh, I remember those. The game was published internationally for the Wii's Virtual Console in 2007. North American and Australian versions of the digital release have cheat codes of the NES version removed. So, that sucks. That really sucks. Because there's definitely built-in cheats for this game, and apparently in Australia and Europe you can't use them, so it's unfortunate.
And North America, man. That sucks.
Oh yeah, in North America. Oh god. Oh dear.
Why take that out? Those things are what make games from this era so much fun.
That's why you use emulators. A 3D Classics remake of Kid Icarus was published on the 3DS handheld console. The remake features a stereoscopic 3D along with updated graphics, including background, which it originally lacked. It also uses some save system as the Famicom Disk System version does, as opposed to the password system for the NES version. So it's pretty exciting. And the 3D Classic version also utilizes the Famicom Disk System's music and sound effects, utilizing the extra sound channel, not available on the NES. So I'm really glad I pawed through those and, really just gave us the best of the development detail. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting indeed. However, anything to add with the development details? Sounds great. These guys slept on cardboard. Do you like the game better?
No, but knowing that some of these people came from Metroid kind of was cool, because, like, it does show in the gameplay.
Very nice. So one of the new features that we're going to start kind of including in Podtendo is cultural significance. So we're going to look at these games and then talk about just how do they impact these games from a cultural significance standpoint. So this was the first successful game that I can tell to use Greek mythology in its story. Palutena is likely based off the Greek goddess Athena. Her staff and shield are staples of Athena's classic appearance. And in Greek mythology, Athena is the goddess responsible for transforming Medusa into a monster. Then we have the 3 sacred treasures that Pitt is tasked in finding down: the Mirror Shield, the Light Arrows, and the Winged Boots. The Mirror Shield, as far as I can tell, kind of from Greek mythology, Medusa, being one of the 3 Gorgon sisters, was slain by the hero Perseus, who used a mirrored shield to reflect her gaze back at her, turning her to stone. He then cut off her head, A Pegasus escaped from Medusa's body, so kind of odd. And her head was given to Athena, who set it on Zeus's shield. This shield is referred to as the Aegis shield. It is a shield it is also said to be a shield covered in animal skin or the skin of the slayed Gorgon. So as best as I could find, the Mir shield in Greek mythology was potentially one of those two shields. It's either Zeus's shield, the Aegis, or potentially the Mir shield that was used to defeat Medusa. Kind of neat, right?
Interesting.
Interesting. Light arrows. So in Greek mythology, Apollo, the god of the sun, created arrows out of the sun, or light. He was the son of Zeus and Leto, the goddess of motherhood, and he was sister to Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. The arrows were said to allow the user to dart through space and time, and was given to the priest Pythagoras. Pythagoras the priest? Yes, the same Pythagoras who came up with the theorem of the triangle, so it's pretty exciting.
Is that a real thing, or are you just making that shit up?
No, it's real. That's a real thing, so...
I feel like Pythagoras was a mathematician.
Yeah, but he could have been religious, or a priest maybe, too.
Potentially.
So those are our two of the three treasures. The third treasure that is mentioned in this game, if we look into Greek mythology, the winged boots, or the Talaria. These were winged sandals of the Greek messenger god Hermes. They were said to made by the god Hephaestus, and they flew the god as swift as a bird. So those are the three items. So we've got a Mir shield, light arrows, and winged boots that make you move like birds. Tyson, have we seen any items pop up in any other games before?
It's kind of nice that they just blatantly ripped off Zelda, but...
Ripped off Zelda? So, I mean, at this point, we've only ever seen Zelda 1. Zelda 2 came out this year in Japan, so it came out a little later. So we've only ever seen Zelda 1, and now we're getting this game that has a Mir shield, light arrows, and winged boots. And you're saying they ripped off Zelda?
Well, I forget now, was the Mir shield in Zelda?
They had a bigger shield. It was a magic shield in the first one, right?
So I have this reversed. Zelda's ripped off Kid Icarus.
So the Mir shield and Pegasus boots both appear in A Link to the Past, which came out in 1992. So 5 years before that, the items were shown to be in Kid Icarus.
Crazy.
Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seen again, I guess, and more prominently in Ocarina of Time as the Mir shield, the hover boots, and the light arrows. Or I guess they were like silver arrows in Link to the Past. The winged boots have also been prominent items in Rick Riordan's fantasy novel, The Lightning Thief, as well as seen in God of War 3, where Kratos forcefully takes the boots off Hermes' body by cutting his feet off his legs. So... I would say God of War is definitely more commonly known for Greek mythology, but Kid Icarus, by God, did it first, as well as had a little bit of a tie-in to the whole Zelda series. Kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. As well as the Rick Riordan, the Olympian series. Sucks. Don't waste your time, you know? It's, yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. Not worth your time. Moving on to... So, did we like that new series? So, cultural significance of the game.
Considering they were kind of the first people to do the whole... I bet you there's probably people who did it first about the whole, like, Greek myth with video games. But it's interesting to see the way that they ripped off a bunch of, like, mythical items from Greek myth and then just, like, put them into this game, which then... I guess got ripped off by Zelda, so very interesting to see if this game didn't put Mir Shield and winged boots and light arrows, what would we have in Zelda?
So, but do you like that segment? Is that interesting? Is that a worthwhile segment to continue with?
I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of neat, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So it's staying for now. we'll refine it a little bit. But yeah, I was pretty excited about that one because when I wrote this down, I was like, oh, I really want to play this game now and talk about it with Tyson. So I thought they were pretty fascinating.
Yeah, well, this game, this game keeps over delivering because I didn't expect much from it, and then, yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
All right. So on to the controls of this game. The directional pad moves you around, A fires, and B shoots. The screen does this really awesome scroll, sarcasm, that when you're climbing up, it kind of shifts with you, and then you can never go back down, so it just becomes a bottomless pit, which I think is delightful.
Yeah, like an actual, like, bottomless pit. Like, if you jump into it, you just die, which
Yeah.
is some BS to me.
Yeah, you could be on the ground, you move up one, you jump down, you die. It's not just the ground is like an inch below, you just die. So,
Yeah.
which is weird that this game came out after Metroid, where Metroid is a free-flowing adventure game where you can go anywhere several times. This game is just a very linear, like, vertical climb or
Yeah.
horizontal climb. So,
Especially considering this game was brought to you by the people who did, like, Metroid. It's not like they forgot how to do that.
yeah, exactly.
It's like it must have been a conscious decision to just always push you forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that kind of irked me a little bit. The power-ups in this game are hearts, which act as currency, crystal rod, which is a shield, flame arrows, which increase attack, sacred bow, which increases range, and they are all obtained by surviving challenge rooms. We have normal items, a chalice, which restores health, a mallet, used to free centurion creatures, a harp, which is a screen nuke, power arrows, which increase strength, and a credit card, which works like a credit card, as well as treasure pots. You can kind of like crack them open. It's like a little mystery pot. Did you ever find the credit card in this game?
I did not, actually.
Did you free any centurion creatures?
I did maybe once.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't, so I'm with Tyson. We also have black market items, which is why I thought it would be good to highlight the items here at least, because we're probably not going to mention them later, because we're fucking cheaters.
Well, a lot of the items are kind of useless. Like, once you kind of know what they do, it's like, do you need to know that we had this in our inventory at this moment?
Yeah,
Probably not.
We don't. No, not at all. There's also a black market, and some of the items you can cut there are the Bottle of Life, which regains health when you run out, Angel Feathers, which gives you the power of flight when you fall down a pit, so wish I would have looked at this before I played the game, and a barrel, which allows you to hold 8 bottles of life. So I think if you would like actually buy items in this game, it might be more manageable to play without just cheats, so
Might be.
maybe.
This game does take apparently a lot of extra grinding if you don't use cheats.
Yeah. And mapping items. We have a map, pencil, a torch. They allow you to traverse the dungeon. And they are useless because we have the internet.
Yep.
That's it. So with that, we've kind of talked about the development details. We've been back in time. We know about the cultural significance of the game. We know about the controls. I think, Tyson, if you're ready, do you want to go talk about the story?
Sure.
Nice. Great story. Tyson, did you read the story before playing this game?
I sure didn't.
It kind of helps clear things up. So, I mean, all of our listeners now know, and I know. But Tyson doesn't know. It's sad.
Yeah, it won't actually be the case. I mean, I could take the 30 seconds and read it, but I'm going to wait until the story guy actually reads it out loud to me, because I refuse to read things.
Smart. That's a good protest, Reading's overrated. No one that's ever been successful has ever read anything in their whole lives.
True fact.
True fact number 1. Moving on, though, to the level notes. Now, this section of the game, which I sometimes highlight, sometimes don't, is supposed to be kind of a retrospective... Well, not a retrospective. The whole show is supposed to be a retrospective. I should say at the beginning. This is supposed to be kind of our linear adventure through the level, and just kind of like a mini walkthrough, a little reminiscing thing. One of the things I dislike is when I listen to someone that does like a retrospective and they don't talk kind of in detail about the adventure. I always find that kind of annoying. Like, I know Gerard does that with his new shows. It's his experience playing a game, but he doesn't actually tell you the story or the levels, and I find that annoying, so I don't want to be annoying,
Yeah, no, I'm very much with you at this, where like you can listen to somebody, or they'll review a movie, but they won't go through it beat by beat, or at least like give you the plot. They'll just kind of talk about scenes in the movie, and you're like, I get that works, but I prefer to actually like
know somewhat of the plot.
Yeah. Or especially since I guess we've always been taught whenever we write something is to write so it just, and like at the basis that the audience doesn't know anything.
Exactly. And it was just like, because Retronauts does a really good job on the retrospective look, and they get you that, but they don't talk about the actual game from kind of just a game point of view. It's all about what did it mean, how was it developed or something, right?
Yeah, and a lot of time their experiences and stuff. So.
Yeah. So we're trying to counteract that with our level notes section. We're just really talking it's almost like no one has ever listened to a podcast before this,
Well, we just were saying how we're a little bit nitpicky when it comes to that. So let's chalk it up to that and move on.
All right. So on to stage 1, 3. Stage 1, 1 to 3. You climb vertically. The screen scrolls with you, which again is very annoying. You can access little doors, which might be stores, black markets, challenge rooms, or nothing. I like when I found the nothing doors, and I was like, ooh, nothing. The platforming isn't super tough. It just becomes very tedious at times.
Yep, and just kind of have to take your time. I find if you try to jump too fast through a room, it kind of like misses the jump. You just like run forward.
Yeah.
So just take your time, just stop and jump, and you'll be fine.
Very fair.
It's not a momentum jumper like Mario.
No, yeah, it's definitely more just meticulous, right? So.
Yep.
Yeah. On to stage 1-4, the first dungeon. It's a maze. Use a map. You're introduced to the eggplant wizards who turn you into eggplants. You will need to visit the hospital to cure yourself. So if you become an eggplant, don't just because you have invincibility on, go to the boss and then you can't do anything. Go to the hospital and cure yourself, or find a code that cures it for you. So
either of these are options.
Yep, either are options. They have a weird fascination with eggplants in this game, so
yeah, there's a lot of weird enemies.
And I like just the fact that he's named his kid Icarus, and he's a kid, and the eggplant is the emoji for dick. I don't like the fact there's so much child penis thrown in my face in this game. Just saying that right now.
I didn't even think about that, but god damn it, you're right.
It's a protest. We have to stop this abomination of a game from existing. God damn it. But, however, the boss we get to fight, as I kind of alluded to before Child Dick came up, is Cerberus, the three-headed dog who guards the underground, which we are trying to escape because Medusa's army has taken over, like, the heaven area, and she calls upon us, who's in Medusa's dungeon in the underground, and we need to escape. That's the story of the game, by the way. I don't know, I just didn't tell you that. So escaping Cerberus, who's the guard of the underground, kind of makes sense. It's kind of neat, right?
Yeah.
Kind of neat. And apparently if you unlock the little centurion guys who are stuck in things, they'll like help you in battle. So they're like little flying guys that will like help and attack the boss. So
yeah, and those kind of just hover above you and just shoot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, maybe if you played the game correctly, you could actually do this instead of just cheating. But on to stage 2. 1 to 3. This area is a horizontal section, It's kind of just like the first section, except horizontal instead of vertical. So I feel like the game designers really went out of their way for this part, you know?
Yeah, and does this game not remind you of the very first level in Mario?
It does a lot. Yep.
Like, it's like they literally just ripped it out and were like, let's just take this design.
Hey, they knew that people were going to be stealing from them, so they were like, we'll just steal back, you know? Pay it forward.
True.
You ever pay it forward? Where you're like in a Tim Hortons line and you're like, I got the guys behind me. And you pay for double, and then they show up to the window and they're like, oh, the guy in front of you paid. And you're supposed to like pay it back as like a sign of good faith. You ever done that?
I have not.
I had it happen to me once. And then I just felt really peer pressured into buying the guys behind me. And his order was like at least double the price of mine, so I kind of got fucked over.
Yeah, that's what I always fear about those things. Where like, what happens if it's a whole family back there and I'm just one person? Like,
yeah, and like you go for a coffee and you end up buying a whole office coffee for the day.
Yeah, exactly. You just fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I guess the play would be to be like, look, how much is the order behind me? And if they're like $48, you just pay yours and keep going.
Smart.
Yeah.
On to level 2-4, the second dungeon. This area is very similar to the first dungeon. It's definitely a little bit longer. If you use a map, the way I used it is I pulled up a map, what it looked like, kind of found the boss, and then worked my way backwards. It's not super tough. Now, by this point of the game, we're kind of done through the first two areas, over the halfway point of the game, and I found it to be very kind of unoriginal and repetitive. And it's not really a puzzle by any means. It's literally just a crappy maze. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great. The boss was Hedra. He was a bouncing dragon. He isn't from Greek mythology. He probably should have been called the Hydra or something like that. Yeah, that was kind of... I looked up Hedra and it was just the wiki page from this game, so...
Yeah, I don't understand that sometimes they gotta just change a name when other things are clearly just like ripped straight from it.
Yeah. On to stage kind of 3-1 to 3-3. That's probably how I should have said it instead of just like 3-1 to 3. Well, I guess I could do it that way. It's another vertical section. I felt like it was very similar to the first one. A little bit more difficult. Some of the enemies that come out, like, they're not, again, I think if you just took your time, you'd probably be okay for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just like the main go-to in this is just take your time and try to grind out when you can if you aren't using cheats. But if you are using cheats, just that's the only obstacle, is just taking your time and not falling back into the pits.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on to stage 3-4, the third dungeon. Another bland dungeon section. I feel like the second dungeon was definitely the most difficult and confusing, whereas this one, it was like just drop down, kind of go up and around, and then drop back down to the boss. So it's not terrible. You fight Pandora. She's a blue floating bubble. I imagine having Centurions would definitely help with this fight. And Pandora is... Oh, I was going to like fill that out. Do you know anything about Pandora and Pandora's box?
I know if you open it, the end of the world happens or something along those lines.
Something like that will happen, so yeah. But she was guarding the third and final treasure. All we ever get are these little boxes, and so like I'm not sure, do we when we get the winged boots or the arrows or anything of that nature? We just for some reason are told you're all done. Exciting, isn't it? Aren't you excited?
I am excited. One thing I forgot to mention about some of the bosses is if you just literally like pick a perfect pixel, there's a couple spots for each of the bosses that you just like stand there. It's kind of even spam attack. So,
just like Metroid.
Basically.
Nice. So now that we are all equipped for stage 4, we put on our 3 treasures and we fly around shooting unlimited light arrows. This is very similar to the final stage in Super Mario Land, and that was my favorite part of that game, and guess what? Damn it, this is my favorite part of this game as well. We get to the end where we fight Medusa. She has a giant eye on the wall that fires laser waves at you. If you sit back, you could literally get a straight shot at her, and her snake dies if you have like the proper timing, and her lasers don't hurt you. And it's very simple. So, good job.
Yes. Way to pull it off.
Way to pull it off. But we survived. I think, you know what? Putting in we'll get into the final thoughts. We'll just finish with the endings. I was going to want to be like, this game was pretty good, you know? So, ending. You end the game with... ending. So, sorry, there's 5 different possible endings. Which ending did you get, Tyson?
I got the one where she kisses me.
All right, so we're going to find out how Tyson did. There are 5 segments. You end the game with 0 points and gain 1 point if you meet the following criteria. If you end the game with 999 hearts, if you have 5 segments of health, if you have 5 arrows listed for your strength, and if you have all 3 enchanted weapons, so the crystal rod, sacred bow, and flames in your possession. 0 points. Pitt becomes a lowly farmer and ends the game holding a sickle. He doesn't get a kiss from the goddess because what kind of a loser would love a farmer?
No one, apparently.
If you have 1 point, so meet one of the criteria, Pitt is pronounced to basic guard and has a helmet and a rod. So, pretty exciting. 2 points. Pitt is promoted to captain of the guard and has a helmet and a spear. So, big step up. You get a spear over a rod. 3 points. Pitt is promoted to full-grown angel, grows to the same heights as Pelentuna, and flexes his arm. Now, if you're cool like Tyson and you get 4 points, this is the best ending in the game. You were transformed into a full-grown angel. Pelentuna kisses you and fills the chamber with lights, and 4 cherubs appear and fly over the couple, dropping hearts on them. So, if you are tall and buff, girls will love you. But if you're a guard or a farmer, enjoy fucking yourself or your sheep, because that's all you'll ever get in your life.
Jesus, Nick.
I'm just writing what the notes say.
That's a dark joke.
That's a dark joke indeed. Well, so far we've talked about child dick and bestiality on this podcast, so we're really earning that explicit rating, you know?
We went for it.
I've often thought that maybe our show should be more in line to be like family friendly, and we shouldn't swear so aggressively. Maybe that'll be like a thing we can discuss for like 50. I mean, I think they're funny to talk about those things, but I make the show for myself, not for children, right?
Yeah, kids don't listen to podcasts. Adults listen to podcasts.
It's true. It's true. It does seem like a mature. We need to have like a YouTube channel or something for kids to join us.
Absolutely.
Current thoughts on this game, though. I think this game is weird. I know that they were going for kind of a humorous take on adventure games. I don't know if it worked 100%. Like, it definitely feels kind of like an older NES game. It is very difficult and kind of requires or suffers from what I call NES game syndrome, where the game requires a very high skill set, and you have to put in those reps and just fail and fail and fail. And after maybe an hour or two, you develop enough skills that you can actually play the game properly. Tyson, what were your current thoughts?
I thought it was a very interesting game. Like, I was kind of expecting, to be honest, not a lot. I was kind of like, oh, this thing's going to drag on and be boring. But the controls weren't terrible. It was a little bit of fun. I did really enjoy the password system because that kind of saved my ass a few times. Yeah, I don't know. I think if I was a kid and I got this, I'd be super pumped on it. I'd want to actually shown it to more people. I'm just surprised it's not more well known. Like, the only time I ever even heard about this game was when Kid Icarus came, or the 3DS game came out, and he was in Smash, and I basically or Smash Brawl, and I skipped that Smash and I skipped that game. So my first experience, fairly positive.
Nice, excellent. What would you change? So for myself, I would add some RPG elements and make the leveling system make a bit more sense, versus just like, I would beat the challenge room, I would pick the arrow, I'd shoot across the screen, but like, how did I make my guy stronger? I wasn't really entirely sure how that worked. And since they were going for a Metroid style, oh man, I'm like trying to like burp or something weird in my throat. For a Metroid style game, you should be able to travel back and explore the world, so they should have made it kind of more open world rather than just kind of these like fixed paths. So
yeah, that's I think that if you'd be able to backtrack it and have like overworld select kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been a lot better, because then you can kind of go back like, oh, I missed or like, because if you get to the very end and you didn't, let's say you missed one of the treasures, you want to go back and get it, you should be able to do that. I think that that's kind of silly, but I get that that was just part of the replay value back in the day.
Very true. Very true. So, a final. Are we buying it? And we're out of here. So even with all of our mindless ramblings in this episode, this is a pretty short one. Like, this will just be over an hour, so good job us, you know?
Yeah.
Good job us. Why can't Pitt fly? Either he became an angel too early in life and hasn't fully developed his wings, or his wings became crippled by some earlier event and he is basically disabled. Potentially, they were broken when he was first captured by Medusa and thrown into the dungeon. So, Tyson, are you buying either of those situations? Why Pitt can't fly with his wings?
I think maybe he was too young, because that's kind of what I've always just thought.
His name is literally Kid Icarus.
Yeah, like he hasn't learned to fly yet. It's like a baby panda. They don't go out on their own until they climb the very first tree on their own.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just kind of a thing. Like, he can't fully fly yet, so he's still considered a kid.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Nice. And then our final theory of the day: Kid Icarus and Zelda. It's coming. We're almost going to talk about a Zelda game again. Can everyone sense it? Can everyone sense it?
It's electricity in the air.
Ooh. So, Pelentuna, who had 3 sacred treasures associated with her: a mirror shield, Pegasus boots, and light or silver arrows, was one of the 3 goddesses who created Hyrule. She seemed to be has green hair, the goddess of light, potentially Foror, as we learn in Ocarina of Time, is green and is charged with filling the world with law and life. Pelentuna, and then Pelentuna is green, the weakest argument ever. And has the power of light or life. So, for the goddess of light that gave life to Hyrule, and Pelentuna, the goddess of light, and they're both green, which I think is stupid. But this means that she came to Hyrule and created life, and she left 3 of her sacred treasures in this world that Link then uses throughout his adventure. That means the other 2 goddesses, Din and Nayru, also came to this world and left other sacred treasures in the world. So, Tyson, are you buying my Kid Icarus Zelda crossover theory?
Well, considering that's the best game theory I've heard in a while, and I've been listening to a lot of game theory videos and just been shaking my head, I'm going to say that I'm going to give you this one, Mick, just out of sheer lack of quality over on Game Theory's channel.
Wait, so is it a good game theory, or does game theory just suck?
A little of both.
Huh. Alright. I mean, I think it's kind of neat. I tied 2 series together. I guess I need to find a Din and a Nehru. Right?
Yeah, but then you would tie it all together, and you just gotta throw some graphics up, and boom, you got yourself a couple million views video.
I could make YouTube money.
Yeah, YouTube money.
YouTube kids. Nice. All right. Well, I think that was a pretty good show. Other than some like mindless ramblings, and I probably should have like proofread the notes and cut them down a little bit. I think we did an okay job.
Yeah, not overly terrible. I'm sure Game Theory doesn't appreciate me being an asshole, but I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I feel like Mad Pat has like good times and bad times, and this was one of those things where I was gonna actually like reach out to him and like write it up and be like, Mad Pat, can you do a video on this? Because I feel like you do like fairly good quality videos, but just sometimes I don't care about the stuff you talk about.
No, I like him. I just don't like the 2 people that yell all the time. So.
The 2 people that yell. Oh, the one physics guy.
Yeah.
Did you see the video where he did like the how far can you fly in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
That was really fascinating.
It was, but he kept yelling at me and I got scared.
Yeah, that's fair. That's scary. You don't want to be yelled at. It's bad. No one do that.
No,
Don't do that.
I gotta turn down the volume. It's a whole big thing.
Nice. All right. So another NES classic game knocked off the list. It's pretty exciting. I don't think there's another Kid Icarus game until like Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS. So that's all right.
I think you're right. I mean, I guess technically, do you want to count ActRaiser as part of that? But
Oh, fun. Maybe we'll have to come back and look at how ActRaiser and this could exist in the same universe.
that's what I'm saying.
Multiverse theory. Awesome. So, Tyson, you don't have anything else to add? I think we did an excellent job. I mean, we definitely just randomly talked for too much.
The rush showed. But I should reiterate that this game was a lot of fun, and I would actually, if I had more time, I'd play this without cheats. So
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
yeah, with that, I think we'll say thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. You can contact Podtendo on Podtendo Podcast on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Podtendo, or on YouTube at youtube.com/Podtendo, or send us an email at podtendo@gmail.com. I'm Mick. I'm going to say bye.
bye.
Tyson said bye. That's it. Take care, everyone, and Kid Icarus speed. Not Godspeed. Kid Icarus speed.